What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into the 2022 NFL mock draft. What I would do with this draft, it starts on Thursday, the first round. I'm super hyped for it. And yeah, it's going to be very fun to see what all this happens. But yeah, let's get into it. Actually, before we start out with this, I just want to say, to everyone, if this video can get to 100 views, I know it's gonna be tough, but if it can, I will be making a part two version of this. So if you want to see a part of the second round, if you want to see second round of this mock draft, just hit the like button, and it helps it out a lot, spreads it around, and yeah. So hopefully we can get to that. But anyway, let's get into this draft, starting out with the number one pick. And a lot of people's thinking Aiden Hutchinson. And I think actually not. I'm going to go Kayvon Thibodeaux with this pick. And it's really tough for me. These two players are elite, but it makes sense um, for the Jaguars to go Aiden Hutchinson. But I feel like if you're going to want to reach with the first round pick, you want superstar talent, and I feel like Kayvon Thibodeaux has that with the Jaguars. He can become a superstar edge player for you, and that's what I think you need. I don't think that Aiden Hutchinson will be a superstar. I think he's going to be a very good player. And even though Aiden Hutchinson will be the better day one player, I feel like if you can land on Kayvon Thibodeaux, you got a superstar player. You got Josh Allen and Kayvon Thibodeaux. That's going to be, and dare I say, a top three edge rush duo, maybe even the best in the NFL for a very long time. Like, that would be very good if Kayvon Thibodeaux can hit. Right. And Aiden Hutchinson, I mean, it's going to be good if you go Aiden, but I feel like Kayvon Thibodeaux, I feel like he is going to become a superstar. And if he does, man, watch out, NFL. He is going to be a great player for a lot of years to come. But yeah, so I'm going to go Kayvon Thibodeaux with that pick. With the next pick in this draft, I'm going to go with Ahmad Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. It was tough for me between Derek Stingley Jr. and Ahmad Gardner, but I feel like the Lions are in a better position than a lot of people might think to win. That they're well coached. This team, I think, could actually surprise a lot of people this season. Not be a playoff team, but the NFC is not a good conference this year. There's a lot of open spots, so I think that they're thinking, why not try and compete for a playoff spot this year? Ahmad Sauce Gardner is going to give you that. He's going to be a good player for you for a lot of years to come. He is kind of the Aiden Hutchinson of the cornerback room. But yeah, he's going to be a solid player. Will he become a superstar cornerback? I don't think so, but he's going to become a core piece for you for a very long time to come. So that's what I think Ahmad Sauce Gardner is going to go at number 2 to the Lions. And then the number 3 overall pick, I'm going to go Evan Neal with this pick. I feel like that he is probably the best player overall in the draft. I know if you look at the Texans, they probably want to trade down with this pick, but I don't think anyone wants to trade up with them. And if you think about the Texans as a team, they, like it says, they really do need every position. They could go with anyone here, and it could fill in a need. Obviously, tackle, if you look at their room, it's not the worst in the world. It's not their worst need, but it is a very valuable position. And if you can get Evan Neal with that pick, he's going to be a like top 5, maybe even left tackle for you for a very long time, for like 10 years. And then you go ahead, maybe get Bryce Young next year. You got a good, you're building Bryce Young to have a good offensive line with Evan Neal. So that's where I have Evan Neal right there at number 3. And then number 4, I feel like that this team should go with the New York Jets. Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback. Derek Stingley Jr., like I said, Ahmad Sauce Gardner is the kind of Aiden Hutchinson of the cornerbacks. Derek Stingley is more the Kayvon Thibodeaux. He hasn't played great. But I feel like I trust Salah to develop this guy for him to be a great cornerback for a lot of years to come. And I feel like that's going to happen with the Jets. Derek Stingley Jr. is going to be a future great cornerback for this team, and I feel like he's going to be one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Even that name sounds like a good cornerback. So I think that Derek Stingley Jr. will go right there, and I think he's going to have a good career with the New York Jets with with Salah developing him. That seems like a great fit for them. It's a big need as well for the Jets. So moving on to the number 5 pick, Aiden Hutchinson sitting on the board, but I feel like you don't think the Panthers are gonna take him. Maybe Panthers got a good O-line, so you wait a little bit for that. And I feel like that you take Ikem Ekwonu with this pick. Ikem Ekwonu, if he just had a little bit better pass blocking, he would be the better prospect than Evan Neal. That's the only thing with him. He needs to develop the pass block. His run blocking is amazing. You might just slide him in to guard for a year. That doesn't mean he is going to be a guard forever. It's just for a year as he develops that pass blocking. This is going to be a great player, man. He is insane. If he is going to be a pass blocker, he's going to be a very good left tackle. And for the Giants, they obviously need offensive line help. It was the worst in the NFL last year. They're going to need some help right there. And I think why not go with Ikem Ekwonu with that pick? So anyway, moving on to the Panthers, and if you're the Panthers, you're in a decent spot to pick Charles Cross here with this pick. That's probably who you want to take, but I think this team wants to trade down with this pick more than what they obviously could take Kenny Pickett, but I don't think anyone's gonna take Kenny Pickett this early. And I would not take Kenny Pickett at all here. He just does not have the upside or the talent to really be there. So I'm going to make a few phone calls, and I'm going to trade with the Saints. I feel like the Saints are the only really team that I could see moving up here to take Charles Cross. And I feel like that this is a fair trade for both teams. You get 2 first-round picks if you're the Carolina Panthers. Meanwhile, the Saints move up, get a 6th-round pick, and a 3rd-round pick for next year. So I explained why the Panthers want to do this. They're going to need, obviously there's not as much good tackles later on, but you could get, I totally forgot his name, the guy out of Northern Iowa, Trevor Penning, with that pick, with one of those picks. I don't think he goes ahead of that. And you get another pick where you could either take a quarterback or take another different player. But yeah, that's where I think the Panthers go there. And we're going to force this trade through. So yeah, let's see. So the Saints, I feel like they move up to get Charles Cross. I mean, obviously they need wide receiver help. They could have used that pick on the 19th pick. But I feel like the Saints, to move up at 6, I feel like if you're the Saints, if one of the big 3 tackles is on the board by 6, you have to move up to get him. And Charles Cross is going to be the player there, so you move up, get a Charles Cross, who I think is the worst tackle, but still a great option for you. There you go. And like I said, with the 7th pick here for the New York Giants, Aiden Hutchinson still sitting on the board. You just have to take Aiden Hutchinson here. I mean, it just makes too much sense for you. So, yeah, I think that's what the Giants do. Aiden Hutchinson, you waited on the 5th pick. Aiden Hutchinson probably won't drop down this far in the real draft, but this is what I would do. Aiden Hutchinson's a great player, but I just don't feel like any of these teams really need him. Maybe the Texans, but I like Evan Neal as a prospect more than Hutchinson. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Giants, picking him up at 7. So moving on to 8, maybe a surprise pick for some people, but I'm gonna go with Jordan Davis with this pick. Obviously, this Falcons team I think is gonna be a very bad team this year, but Jordan Davis with this pick is going to be perfect for this team. Jordan Davis is an elite run blocker. He is going to be a great player for you for a very long time. He's going to stuff up the line, and while he does it, he's going to work on that passing game. I think he's going to be a hard worker at the next level. He will be able to rush the passer. He'll get to that level. I think eventually. This player, the run blocking though, man, it is just too good to pass up here. I think for the Falcons, and I think that's who they take here, Jordan Davis out of Georgia. So with the Seahawks pick, I mean, the Seahawks really are a bit upset with this. I mean, Derek Stingley Jr. went off the board, Sauce Gardner went off the board, and the big 3 tackles went off the board. You're looking at Trent McDuffie with this pick. You could go with him, but I don't feel like the Seahawks want that. They want to trade down. I think they got a lot of needs that they want to fill up, and I feel like that they trade down with the Ravens with this pick. The Ravens, I feel like, are a team that would like, you call up the Ravens, you say, we're going to take Trent McDuffie with this pick. We know that's a need for you. Do you want to come up and get him? And I feel like, yeah, the Ravens are like, okay, yeah, we'll trade up whatever you say, Seattle. I feel like that this is a decent trade for both teams. And the 153rd pick to balance things out. So, yeah, Seattle gets another second round pick. So they got 3 picks in the 40 range with that. So, yeah, the Ravens move up. And now they're going to take Trent McDuffie. Yeah, Trent McDuffie with this pick. They fill in a need at cornerback. Trent McDuffie, a little bit early, I would say, for him in most mock drafts. But McDuffie, I think, is going to be a great player out of Washington that will be able to play good for the Ravens. So moving on to number 10. And yeah, we're going to have another trade. And this one is the 49ers debacle. Obviously, we know Deebo Samuel and all that's going on. 49ers got the 61st pick. That is their first pick in the draft. But yeah, Deebo Samuel, I think, requesting a trade, and the Jets, I feel like, are the only realistic option in my eyes. I mean, maybe a few other teams, but the Jets make a lot of sense here with this. They got the 10th pick. They got the most capital to get this done, and they got the money to pay Deebo. So I feel like the Niners are going to receive the 10th pick and the 146th pick, and the Jets will receive Deebo Samuel and the 93rd pick. So the Niners get a good pick there that they could pick someone to replace Deebo. I mean, he's not as good as Deebo, but he's a cheap option right now, and you could pay some other players. He could play a lot like Deebo Samuel and maybe become even better than Samuel. This is going to be Treylon Burks. Like, he just reminds me so much of Deebo Samuel the way he plays. He'll be a great option for the Niners. I feel like that they're going to be able to utilize him well. And yeah, the Niners, I think that's who they go with there, is Treylon Burks. All right, so moving on to the Commanders here with this pick. And I feel like the Commanders may be looking to trade down. I don't think it happens here. I'm going to go Zion Johnson with this pick. The guard at a Boston College. Very good player here. And I know guard is not the most important position, but like Zion Johnson is a top 5 player in this draft. And it's a need. Why go quarterback? I think if you're the Commanders, you just traded for Carson Wentz. You want to see what Carson Wentz can do, help him out a lot, and get a guard there to protect him a little bit more. So Zion Johnson, I think, is the pick there for the Commanders, and then the Vikings. With this pick a little bit earlier than a lot of people would think, I feel like the Vikings probably want to trade down with this pick, but I don't think that anyone wants to move up with the Vikings right now. And I'm going to go with George Karlaftis. It also makes a lot of sense for the Vikings. Maybe a little bit early for him, like I said. But Karlaftis, he's going to be a great low ceiling, but a very high floor player for you. George Karlaftis, going to be an impact player from day one. And he's going to, help out this team a lot out of Purdue. So, yeah, that's where I see George Karlaftis going. At number 12 to Minnesota. Obviously, Minnesota probably wants cornerback here. Unfortunately, Trent McDuffie already went off the board to the Ravens. So, moving on here to the number 13th pick. And the Texans. Obviously, this team wants to trade down with another team. And I think that's going to be Green Bay. I don't feel like Green Bay wants to trade up with their division rivals. They could trade up with the Texans just a little bit less. And the Green Bay Packers, I feel like, can get the 13th pick here. I feel like the Green Bay Packers, you're thinking Garrett Wilson's still on the board. You need help. Aaron Rodgers needs help. Why not? So I feel like they're going to ask, give us another first-round pick next year, and we can make this happen. That's going to be 3 first-round picks next year for the Texans, which is big time. And I feel like that's going to help them out a lot. But, first you're going to have to get, let's see, what else did I have in this trade? Sorry. And then, Green Bay will receive a 2023 fourth-round pick, which I think is fine for the Texans. But, I feel like this trade makes a lot of sense for both teams. Green Bay wants a receiver. Texas want to, help out the future a little bit. Maybe if they don't get the first pick, they can trade up a little bit and get Bryce Young. And even if they get the first-round pick, they got a lot of capital next year to do so. So, that's what I think the Texans will be able to do. And the Packers take Garrett Wilson. I know Jameson Williams, a lot of people say he's better, but I like Garrett Wilson a little bit more. It's tight, to say the least. Didn't mean to do that, but there you go. Get picked there for the Packers. And then, so moving on to Seattle. Seattle traded down, obviously. Didn't get Trent McDuffie. And I think another player that they were looking at here was George Karlaftis. Unfortunately, he went off the board earlier, thinking they were going to take Travion Walker. So Seattle's in a position where, they're going to have to take Travion Walker. I think they wanted George Karlaftis with this pick, but just was a little bit surprised that the Vikings took him. But I think that Travion Walker is overrated, especially in the Georgia defense. There's a lot of things in the Georgia defense. They got so much good players that really some of these guys were just asked to do one thing. And, Travion Walker was asked to do one thing. I think that it's really going to be good for them to get him. I think they want George Karlaftis with this pick, but Travion Walker will be a decent option for them and could turn into a superstar player. A little bit more on the boom or bust end of it. But anyway, moving on to number 15th pick, and a lot of people might be surprised. You're like, go Kyle Hamilton at this point. No, I feel like Kyle Hamilton is very overrated. And I am going to actually go with Daxton Hill, who it says cornerback. He's going to be playing safety for this team. I think he's a great player that a lot of people are underestimating. This guy can fly off the ball. He wasn't asked to do safety a lot. He was more of that slot corner. But maybe if you want to put him into slot corner for a year, he'll be decent at that. But I feel like Daxton Hill at safety is going to be one of the top safeties in the league for a lot of years to come. So, yeah, moving on to the number 16th pick, the Panthers traded down. Fortunately for them, Trevor Penning is still on the board. They traded down for a reason to get him. So, yeah, get him right there and move on to hopefully be able to get another star player that you would like to get with that next pick. And then, anyway, moving on to the Chargers pick, it's going to be tough for the Chargers because obviously you need help at tackle. But, it's too early, in my opinion, to take Bernhard Raimann. And so, why not help Justin Herbert in a different way? Jameson Williams is one of the best wide receivers on the board, and you were probably expecting, if you were the Chargers, for him to go off the board earlier. He is a great piece for the Chargers that they can get, and it's going to just help out Justin Herbert even more. They're trying to win now, and they got a player there in Jameson Williams that they can pick up. Unfortunately, not able to get a tackle with this pick, but that's fine. You can just get Jameson Williams and move on. And then the Eagles, fortunately for them, their player that they wanted, go double down on defensive backs. Andrew Booth Jr., I think, is the pick here for the Eagles. He's a great cornerback out of Clemson and is going to be a decent player for the Eagles. And now, with that, your team, your secondary is going to be a very good secondary for a long time to come, and you fill out a very important need. And now you're in an NFC conference that is not very good this year with Jalen Hurts. You'll definitely, well, not definitely, but most likely will be able to make the playoffs this year. All right, moving on to the next Panthers pick. And it was tough for me. I was thinking Kenny Pickett with this pick, but Tyler Linderbaum sitting at the center spot. You need to help out. I feel like that you can get a Jimmy Garoppolo or a Baker Mayfield for cheap. They both have heavy salaries. So, yeah, I think you can get one of those guys for cheap. You don't have to take Kenny Pickett here. Kenny Pickett definitely is a lower end player. He's worse than all those players. And you're trying to, I feel like this is a desperate coaching staff that needs to help him out. And Kenny Pickett just doesn't do it for me. And I feel like Tyler Linderbaum is the pick here. He's going to help out your center, help out whoever you bring in a little bit more, and hopefully you can make something happen this year. It's if you can get the why do I keep forgetting Trevor Penning and Linderbaum. It's going to be a decent enough offensive line. It still has a lot of holes, but it'll be a decent enough offensive line. You get a quarterback, and you're not the worst team in the NFL. You could compete for a wild card spot this year. So yeah, the Panthers, I feel like, could get Linderbaum with that pick. And moving on to the Steelers. With this pick for the Steelers, a lot of people probably say, trade up. But Malik Willis makes too much sense for the Steelers. And they'll probably have to trade up for him. But I don't think they're going to in my what I would do. I have faith that he's going to fall. I don't really see, besides maybe Carolina with those two picks, you're thinking that you might want to trade up ahead of them with the Eagles or someone ahead of them. But, yeah, I feel like you can sit back, relax. If you don't get Malik Willis, it's not the end of the world. You got next year where you could be in the Bryce Young sweepstakes. But Malik Willis is going to be a good quarterback. Well, not a good quarterback. It's very boomer bust. I trust Steelers the most out of any team to be able to turn Malik Willis. And you're in a division with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Deshaun Watson that you're going to need someone that can at least be, you know, decent enough to compete with those guys on a consistent basis. And Malik Willis has that opportunity. He could turn into a superstar quarterback, or he could turn into one of the worst picks quarterbacks in a very long time in the first round. He could turn into basically Mitch Trubisky. But this player has a lot of talent, and it makes a lot of sense for the Steelers. I feel like I trust the Steelers out of a lot of teams to develop him, and I think that feel like they can do it. So anyway, trade we have here. The Patriots, I think, are going to want to move down with this pick. They got a lot of needs and not too much picks to work out with it. And I feel like a team to move up here would be the Chiefs down here. I feel like that they will trade away the 29th pick for the 21st pick, as well as the Patriots get the second round pick at 62. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense because the Chiefs know that there's going to be a lot of teams ahead of them that are going to want receiver. So go ahead and trade up and get your Tyreek Hill finesse type player in Chris Olave. Like he's the closest thing you're going to be able to get to Tyreek Hill, I think, in this draft, besides maybe Garrett Wilson. But Chris Olave, a small guy, very fast. He could be a good piece for you. So you go out and get him. And then moving on to the number 22 pick. So you got the job done. You got your wide receiver up here with Garrett Wilson. You're going to need a offensive line. You could obviously double dip. Drake London still available there. It makes sense to double dip. Or you can go with a good offensive line help here. And Kenyon Green. I know Kenyon Green a little bit more. I'm more high on him. You know, he's gonna. I think he's gonna be a great guard at the next level, and help out Aaron Rodgers even more. Now the wide receiver room sucks. You could just get two great pieces. Drake London and Garrett Wilson are two different players, so like it would work. It would be a good. I would not complain about it. But then again, you need help on the O-line. Kenyon Green is a good guard, and he's going to be a good for you for a long time. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense there. Green Bay doing that pick. And moving on to the Cardinals pick, where Cardinals, you think about trading down. You don't got a lot of capital, and you got a fair amount of needs. Not the biggest need. Your biggest need definitely is defensive line. And that just makes too much sense to go with defensive line here in Devontae Wyatt. You just have to, really. So, yeah, I think the Cardinals, Devontae Wyatt, you help out that defensive line a little bit more. Well, you need to help a lot. Devontae Wyatt, not nearly as good as Jordan Davis, in my opinion, but he's going to be a good option for you and a decent player for a lot of years to come. So, Devontae Wyatt, that's where he's going to go, I think. And then with the number 24th pick, a need for this team here, they need Devin Lloyd. You know, obviously they're in a tough spot. They probably wanted Devontae Wyatt with that pick. Obviously, Kenyon Green goes off the board. You're thinking about Bernard Raymond. I don't think so. Devin Lloyd is a great linebacker. You know, he's going to come out here, be a leader for this defense. You keep up this defensive trend. You're trying to win now, and Devin Lloyd will definitely help you win now. So that I feel like is going to be a great pick for the Cowboys. If it happens, Devin Lloyd might go sooner than that, but I feel like that's it. So with the number 25th pick, I feel like that you're going to have to go with the wide receiver, Drake London. Out of USC, he is a great player for you, Drake London. You know, a lot of people are probably surprised that he fell this far, but Drake London is going to be a piece that, you know, like the Bills, a dream. You help out Josh Allen a little bit more with this pick, even more than originally, and you get a good player here. in Drake London. So with this next pick, the Titans. I feel like the Titans